everybody has to understand that at some point you have to be in the position to create the highest, deepest, and stickiest level of trust possible. And where most people miss this is they miss it at the most important part, which is the front end. And the front end of every relationship, whether it's a lender sitting down and meeting with a borrower, or whether it's a lender going out and sitting down and meeting with a real estate agent, or it's a real estate agent going to a seller's home and sitting down and meeting with that seller, everybody needs to understand that we are returning kind of to the past as a way to prep for the future. The face-to-face meeting, the face-to-face interview, particularly if it's the first time that you've ever transacted with that individual, is a mandate in a high-tech world. So we've engaged a company that's called the Edelman Trust Barometer. They study 28 countries around the world. We are studying as we look at high trust in America, Australia, Canada, the UK, as we watch different factions of industry facing distrust. Big 2-year investigation in Australia on broker distrust, and the world revolves on trust, and trust cannot be communicated over the telephone. It can't be communicated simply through an email. It can't be communicated, I mean, even in a Zoom call, we can see each other, but we don't feel the emotional face-to-face kind of beat, right, of the relationship. What we do know is it's interesting that when you have face-to-face meetings, you actually accelerate trust through emotional connection. And a lot of people think they don't have time for face-to-face meetings, or that buyers don't have time to come meet you face-to-face, which is just, all that is code for you don't know what to say, and you don't have the ability to create enough value in whatever you say to get them to understand. If they're going to drive 20 minutes across town to get their hair cut and spend $100, why wouldn't they drive 20 minutes across town to meet with you when it's going to involve thousands and thousands of dollars? So we've got to get to this mode, Ron, where we understand two things about face-to-face. Face-to-face increases conversion because it increases deep trust, high trust. And if we don't do face-to-face, we might still get the deal, but we won't have the level of deep trust. Now, we also have to understand that if we get face-to-face, we're able to create a different emotional bond, which settles down the expectation of how much people will pay for whatever it is we're charging. So the whole price pressure thing kind of abates. The whole idea of margin compression and concession pricing, that abates. I mean, whenever you get to face-to-face, people will pay more. The final reason why it's absolutely critical is based on the stats we're looking at, is it produces the highest customer sat score. You can look at an internet loan application. You can look at a phone application. You can look, yes, we have stats on mail out applications in the modern day world. You can look at face-to-face. Face-to-face has the lowest percentage of applications in terms of the method of how the application is done. Lowest percentage, only 8% of applications are conducted face-to-face. It has the highest customer sat score, knocking right on the door, of 80%, which in the world of 5 stars is right under 4.5 stars. So why wouldn't we go face-to-face? Now, the important reason why face-to-face for an agent is critical is because that's when you can ask the questions that we were talking about earlier that Mark brought up. How can I ask the deeper questions? I can't even feel the emotional answer if I'm not face-to-face. My brother's a financial planner. He will not take you on as a client unless you agree to a 2-hour face-to-face meeting with him. I've got a couple of physicians that as much as they'd love to do house calls, they're not going to do that. You're going to go to them because they are the expert. So I think mortgage guys and gals need to really understand, what's your intentional process? Are you going to let the buyer control the circumstances in which you guys help finance the most important decision of their life? Or are you going to, with value creation, control those circumstances? And I think far too many people are just, they're not getting the face-to-face. I mean, Entrepreneur Magazine said, if you want to 10x your volume, have more face-to-face meetings. That's about as simple as it gets.